Shall we bow our heads? Father, we thank you this evening that we gathered here to conduct the business of the Delaware tribe of Indians. Father, I pray that you will watch over each of us, and Nate, that you'll get him well again, and that you'll be with Paula as she conducts the business of the tribe, and with each one of us, that we might have renewed minds and be aware of the fact that you are involved in the affairs of men. And let us be quick to give you the praise and glory for the way you have helped the staff to prepare and made it possible for this meeting tonight. Lord, I also pray for our Delawares who are ill and who can't come out, those ones that are really failing, and the ones who don't take an interest in our tribe, but want to hold us accountable. And Father, that you will renew their minds as well. That each of us as Delaware people will realize our responsibility, not only toward you, but toward our tribe as we move forward into the next few years of critical activity that we must make to be your people and stand up strong. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Ned. Roll call.
Chief Johnny?
Here.
Assistant Chief Brooks?
Here.
Roger Crawford? Here. Annette Ketchum? Here. Jennifer Brown? Here. Nate Young is absent. Jennifer Tony? Here. We have a quorum. What should I do? Should I put Nate's absence as notice?
Okay. I guess this bad weather's kept our guests away. Don't have a lot of them tonight. But it's good to see the ones that are here.
Chief, I'd like to say to Kyle that welcome tonight one of our young people who has recently spent some time ill and is back among us. Thank you, Kyle, for coming out.
So I just got a report that Bruce was back around today, and he's looking better.
I shared a meal with Bruce and Leanne prior to coming here at 4 o'clock, and he had been back to see the doctor, and the doctor said he's doing every bit as well as he could be at this time, and he won't release him to come back to work yet, but he comes back next Tuesday to see Dr. Peister again. So he's ready to mentally ready to come back to work. He said, "I'm ready for the rat race." I said, "Don't hurry up, because the rat race is not going anywhere." So anyway, and he thought he would call tomorrow and see about maybe possibly getting the laptop where he could do a little bit from home if he needed to, but he misses his job and all of you. So, but he looked really, really good. I know he came by the tribal center, so I don't know if any of y'all saw him.
I got to see him in here.
Yeah.
He did look like
Yeah, he's lost between 20 and 30 pounds, and his color's good now, so he's getting there. And we do have that benefit for him the 23rd of November.
Chief Pachonic, while Bonnie Jo Griffith was walking away from the podium, the trust board would like to say that we thank her for her almost a year, I believe, of service to the trust board, and we're really glad to hear that Bruce is recovered. Thank you, Mom.
So, I guess we'll look at this agenda and see. And one of them.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as have.
Okay.
due date for that grant has been extended to December 1st, and Jan and I will track down the sample resolution just to give the permission to submit the grant and permission to do a needs assessment regarding the grant. Yeah. Not, I don't have the wording for it. In early December.
So this 57 is just going to be a void.
Yeah.
Okay, so approve the agenda with corrections. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passed. The minutes of October 7th.
I'll move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, approval of minutes, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm going to say, I don't know why you.
They should have taken your packet. Okay, the treasurer's report. Okay. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain. I can't do. And then you get to see this, right?
Okay, so we have the department reports in the packet. We have the new form that we discussed last month, and so the reports are on the new form. And I guess Curtis has his report in person. Want to come forward?
All right, thank you. And yes, indeed, tonight's one of those nights when I don't have a written report to bring to you. There's no excuse. I'll just say I've been spending a lot of time doing rather than spending time writing about it. We've had a pretty incredible month this past month. I'd like to think that our crowning achievement has been the annual General Council meeting. Logistically, as far as the meeting, how it went, the layout, everything, that part I thought went really well. I heard comments from you all, from the audience. Everyone seemed pretty pleased with that. And I think that you all, as the council, should be certainly proud of yourselves, what you were able to report to the people about our accomplishments for the past year. I thought you handled it quite well. And we worked with DFMS in both the setup and the cleanup and everything afterwards. The kitchen staff, of course, with the work that they did. All of the departmental staff with their reports and their attendance here, I thought made it a very good general council meeting. As you know, and I'm just reporting for those in the audience to hear, last month we also attended NCAI in Tulsa. While we may have come up a little short on our introduction of a resolution for a return to Kansas and support from the national body, they did encourage us to continue dialogue with the Kansas tribes, and I believe that that is something that this tribal council is taking very seriously and is making a very strong effort to do that. So I felt like our attendance in NCAI was nothing short of remarkable. When you think of the Elders Lounge that we hosted, the presence that we had with the other tribes, including the Oklahoma tribes, the support that we had, certainly from the Eastern Oklahoma region and many other regions, I thought we did a great job at NCAI. And the challenge is to just continue to do that. Regarding the 638 contract with BIA, we're waiting on them at this point. Everything that we've done as far as working with Cherokee Nation, getting the implementation agreement turned over to them, we're simply waiting on BIA to take the money in aid to tribal government, reprogramming it so that they can sign a contract with us and we can get direct funding for aid to tribal government. Now, I don't have an update since our last conversation with Diane Buck a week ago. She knows that if there's any changes, she's going to contact us. And we're about 3 weeks behind as far as their processing of this because of the government shutdown. Again, it's not an excuse, it's a reason. I can only hope, like you, that we get a phone call soon saying, here's the draft of the contract, look it over, be prepared to sign it. I'd really like either they come up here or you go down there, Chief, to Muskogee. I'd like to see if we can have some witnesses and take photographs of you signing that contract and reestablishing that direct government-to-government relationship with BIA through these 638 contracts. So, Chief, I just can only hope that it happens soon. We can follow up. I'll certainly call Diane again and kind of put my finger on the pulse and see what's going on down there. Down the hall from Diane is Annette Jenkins, who is processing our feed of trust application for Caney. I submitted to them an amended legal description of the Caney property based on my previous reports with Charlie Jones, the neighbor up in Caney. When we submitted that description, we were advised by the Real Estate Services Department and the Bureau of Land Management surveyor that the language had to be technically written in a certain way that it would be accepted by BIA standards. I went back to the surveyor. He rewrote those. Technically, the property boundaries had to be oriented towards something called true north. The technical requirements were conveyed to the surveyor. He rewrote them, and I have entered the body of that legal description in a resolution for your consideration later. And if you will approve this resolution, it adopts the amended legal description of the Caney property, which is a formal requirement. We have to have that resolution to submit the amended trust application. So I do ask for your consideration and approval of that resolution tonight. As you know, a couple weeks ago we had the meeting with the officials from the city of Lawrence. I thought that meeting went well. I'd like to thank Sandy, Leslie, and the folks over at Child Care Office for working with us to set up a place to have a meeting. I thought it was a good first meeting, and I'm certainly anxious to hear about how your meeting went yesterday in Lawrence with those officials. I have high hopes, though, that our conversations and dialogue with the Lawrence city officials and the Douglas County officials will be very productive and favorable to all parties involved. Under tribal operations, as you just heard from Bonnie Joe, Bruce actually came by the office today for a few minutes, and we're sure glad to see him back on his feet. He did say that he has to see the doctor next week. Hopes he get a doctor's release to return to work, and I told him that he can kind of merge slowly into the fast lane. But I'll tell you, I've missed him because there's been a lot of work going on around here, and the staff has tried to fill in and help carry the load. And I want to thank the staff, too, for helping me out in carrying on the operational activities around here. We're getting along well with the FMS. We're working out all of these work orders around here. There's always things going on around here, but the FMS has been responsive, and we're grateful for that. I had a meeting with them today with Kelia and Nathan Skalal, mainly about housing issues, but again, it's a very amenable relationship and seems to be working out much better. It was a little rocky at first, merely because of communication and having good, effective communication. I think the fact that we're meeting with them on a weekly basis, talking about work orders, helping to confirm priorities, is getting things done around here. I believe you have a DFMS annual report for your consideration later. I have not had a chance to see that yet, but I'm anxious to see it myself. On housing, I'm going to give you a brief report because I'm going to ask this tribal council to have a separate line item on one of your workshops so I can get into some of the details. We're still in the formative stage of something, but I will tell you that both Gene Lewis, our CFO, and myself have been in conversations with a contractor, a housing consultant. Her name is Sonia Key. Sonia is a retired HUD, Office of Native American Programs official. She was on Wayne Sims' senior staff. We're entering into a contract with her as a consultant for our housing program. We've already been in contact with both Wayne Sims and with Ron Qualls at Cherokee Nation. The preliminary report we're getting is Cherokee is ready to turn over the funds to the Delaware tribe, our housing funds. And what it's going to take is, just like with our aid to tribal government money, it's going to require an implementation agreement to release the 2014 funds that the Cherokee Nation has in their housing allocation and allow the Delaware tribe to be able to draw those funds down directly. What we're going to need to do is, and Sonia will help us do this, we'll write a new Indian housing plan. And at that time, if we want to bring in all of the Kansas, that's the time to sit down and do that. We will not submit an Indian housing plan without working first with the tribal council and then getting it approved by the tribal council. I feel really good if we can have somebody of the caliber of a Sonia Key on the team to help us pull this together and kind of navigate our way through the murky waters of trying to extract the housing monies from Cherokee Nation. We did finally get our written audit from Cherokee Nation on our housing funds. There were a list of several concerns in there. Gene and I are going over those concerns now. The response is due back to them by November the 23rd. We'll not only develop those responses, but we'll present them to the tribal council for your review and approval before we respond back. There's nothing in there of any that I'm overly concerned about. A lot of it is bookkeeping and record-keeping issues that some of this stuff dates back to 2011. So there are still things in there that we have to kind of clean up with some of our records. Personnel. I'm sorry, let me go back to housing real quick. The Indian housing plan that we will be submitting will be for the 2014 current year NAHASA allocation. we were advised, don't draw any money down from Cherokee until you got a chance to resubmit an Indian housing plan directly to HUD, and then you can get that full amount under control of HUD, and we can start drawing it down directly. We don't have to go through Cherokee. We don't have to bill them for previous funds spent or anything like that. And if we can get this thing moving along quickly, I believe we can absorb current housing costs without having to bill Cherokee Nation for any of these 2014 funds. Our advice from our housing consultant is, let's make this clean and not draw any money out until we're ready to get approval from Cherokee Nation, and then they give us the whole amount. I'll be glad to brief you all much further detail. I'd like to bring Sonia with me, and I'd like to do it at a time when you have a workshop and we can really devote our time and attention to this issue. It's that important. I tell you, I'm feeling very positive about this. The dominoes are starting to fall for us, and that's exciting news. But that means, just like everything else, we have to be prepared to take this on. And certainly our staff development projects, job descriptions, policies, and procedures. We continue to work with Libby. I had 2 meetings today with Verna and Libby and Mike Taylor and some of the staff on these matters. So we continue to do that. You know how important it is as we go to the Bureau of Indian Affairs and seek to get a formal tribal jurisdiction established for the Delaware tribe in Kansas. But I think once we get going with this mechanism of taking out the Cherokee housing money and drawing it directly, that will allow us, starting in fiscal year 2015, we won't have to go through Cherokee anymore. We'll get our money. And that is our goal. And everyone's on board with getting there.
Curtis,
Yes,
does that
ma'am.
include our needs money?
Well, that's where we'll have to put that into the Indian housing plan
Oh, okay.
in order to go back to HUD and lobby to get increased funding for that. And some of that, the needs money, is going to require the needs assessment to justify asking for more money. And so we've got our work cut out for us, but we know that. And that's why we're bringing in all of these, the plans that you're working on, our needs assessment for all of our programs are the things that we're working on. But yes, ma'am, we are absolutely going to...
And that'll be Sonia's that'll be what she does. It's just work on the housing.
Yes, that's correct.
Exactly.
Right.
Does she have a timeline or frame of how long it'll take?
Not yet. Why don't I ask her for that, and let's bring her to a workshop, and I think we can get those answers directly from her after she's done a little more work with us.
Well, she probably has, she's an expert. She knows how long these probably things, generally speaking.
Because she's a former colleague of all of the staff up there, Wayne Sims takes her calls, and he gave her this advice. You guys do it this way, and as long as Cherokee gives us our implementation agreement, we're ready to start giving you your direct funding. Their whole all along has been, as long as that Cherokee MOA is hanging over you guys, we're going to stay out of the way. So we get that done, hey, we're going to be in good shape, and then now we have to fight for more money to cover what our needs are beyond just taking care of our existing housing. Personnel, I have quite a few personnel annual performance reviews to accomplish, and I've been working with Mike Taylor, our personnel manager, our human resources manager, and I'm designating the week of November 18th through the 22nd as a time when I'm going to be scheduling and conducting personnel reviews on a number of our staff. Some of those reviews are overdue. They're not going to occur. They're occurring after their annual employment date. Nonetheless, those people that may be considered for merit increases, I'll give due consideration based on available funds in their budget, based on their performance, but we'll do it by the book, and I'm working closely with Mike Taylor to set that up. It's hard for me to It's hard for me to get to these things. Some of them have been stacking up, so Mike and I just made a plan. Let's clear our schedule and get these performance reviews out of the way. I think the staff deserves that themselves, and it's time. It's actually
Dates, I didn't get the date.
November the 18th through the 22nd is when I'll be scheduling any of the performance reviews for our staff. I will give you all a kind of an advance report, perhaps at one of your workshops between now and then, about some of my strategy. There are some confidential personnel issues I wanted to talk with you about regarding budget and the availability if a decision is made regarding any merit increases or anything else for our staff. I will share that with you tonight. Right now is not the appropriate time, but just know that I've been working with Mike on that, and we've done quite a bit of analysis on our budgets and our staffing. And so I'll visit with you, if I may, if you could schedule a confidential personnel committee workshop. I'll brief you before I go into this effort to give these folks their performance reviews. One more piece of business. As Jennifer, I think you already mentioned it, we've developed a resolution for formal adoption or formal approval of the budget that was set up to support your Kansas development activities, to make sure you've got money there for travel, whether it's tribal council, staff, contractors, any expenses going toward economic, housing, and community development. The HUD regulations state that you can use your proceeds of sale money, and I appreciate your consideration in formalizing this budget by tribal resolution. It's everyone's best interest to pass this resolution. Two quick announcements. I did have a meeting with Jim Baker of Dewey, Oklahoma. He's a veteran, a tribal member. He's working with the Disabled American Veterans, and I am approving them allowing our tribal community center here on the first and third Monday of every month from 9 to noon for them to meet with tribal veterans. And because the elders are doing their exercises here at that time, I said, gosh, Jim, I don't think we can have your veterans coming in and talking to you guys while we have the elders over here. I just walked him out here to the round desk in the reception area, and I showed it to him. He said, this would be perfect. So I'm informing you, and if there are no objections, I'd like to go ahead and allow Jim Baker, as a representative of the Disabled American Veterans, to allow veterans to come in and help them with veteran services, processing claims. They even give guys rides to the VA Medical Center and other types of things. They just need a place. They have stop and serve their tribal veterans. And certainly this Friday's event, and I want to remind you all that indeed this Friday at 10:30, the War Mothers is having their Veterans Recognition event. Since Monday we have the day off, Veterans Recognition event is going to be at 10:30 on Friday the 8th. I think Bucky Buck and Bonnie Thaxton are the guest speakers, and we'll honor and recognize our tribal veterans and use that as a kind of an opportunity to launch the discussion that the Trust Board had about the Veterans Committee, and to spread the word and make the Veterans Committee and this tribe's addressing veterans issues a higher priority, and we have more resources to direct to it, and it's definitely in keeping with our tribal identity. As you look around the walls here, how much we hold our veterans and their service to the tribe in high regard. So I appreciate the council's support of all of these service organizations that our tribal members participate in, and I know you feel the same. One last little bit of matter. I have to be out of the office on Thursday. I have to go up to Springfield and help out my mother, and I need the day off. So I need to take Thursday off. But other than that, I'm here. We're all working hard, and we appreciate the opportunity and privilege to support our tribal council. I'll be glad to take any questions.
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I thank you for all you did for Saturday.
Here, select hers over there.
I didn't have to worry about doing anything, so I appreciate that. I appreciate what you did because I didn't have to worry about it. Bonnie took care of part of it. You made sure everything was where she wanted it, and I thank you.
Quite well. We're pleased to serve.
I would like to add to that when we came in on Monday, normally the tables would have still been out and it would have been hard for the elders to get to exercise. Everything was put away. It was back in
I
order.
came in Sunday and we had a couple of DFMS guys and we got to take care of them.
Well, we
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think you deserve Thursday off.
Curtis, I'd like to add to those congratulations. Namely, you did a great job. As far as I can tell, all of our employees, their displays of tribal documents were the best I've ever seen at a general council, and I'll tell them the same thing tomorrow
Yes, sir.
at your staff meeting.
Thank you. They would appreciate it. I mean, I tried to tell them, but it means a lot coming from you all also. So thank you. We're on for tomorrow at 9 a.m.
I guess we can go to the meeting tomorrow and tell them.
Anything else, Chief?
I guess that's all. If we don't have any questions.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. Okay, we have a little piece of unfinished business here with our Indian Child Welfare Code, and so Lacey came to bring that to us tonight. We all had it last month, and I guess we studied them. Everybody read those?
Chief, I move to approve the Indian Child Welfare Code.
I'll second
It's
that.
a resolution, resolution 61.
Go ahead and find that.
Okay.
Can we hear what that resolution is?
Approving the Indian Child Welfare Code.
What's the code?
Oh, and under discussion, like Lake's going to talk about.
1361.
Lacey? Oh, you're going to give it to her? Okay.
Keeping our children with us.
Lacey, thank you for your work on that code. We appreciate it, and your work on the department.
Very much.
Does the council have any questions about the content of the codes? Lacey has worked with the National Indian Child Welfare Association, other colleagues with Indian Child Welfare programs in other tribes. She came down for a little while and networked a little bit at NCAI, but working with Libby and trying to develop this set of codes. Even, I think, did you meet with any of the judges at all or do any collaboration with them? Don Mason, okay. So, again, this effort reflects a set of codes that are on par with any other tribe. They pass any federal scrutiny, and knowing that it has the oversight and collaboration with the National Indian Child Welfare Association, we feel that these codes are a positive reflection on this tribal government as far as passing a law that protects the child welfare, the welfare of our Indian children and provides services to them. It connects with our tribal court system and gives them guidance on how to utilize the law for the best interests of our tribal children. And we're due for that. It helps the tribal court now in their further development of policies and procedures by looking at actual laws that the tribe has on the books.
thank you. Resolution, is it 61 or 2013-61? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Yes, that was all I was. I think that's all.
Resolution number 55, 2013-55, is that it?
Yes. It's our tribal membership resolution.
I make a motion that we accept the 19 people listed as new tribal members on our resolution 2013-55. Second.
Okay, motion second on the floor to approve resolution 2013-55. All in favor?
Aye.
Noes? Abstentions?
Ben Matthew Ragusa, Jeremy Patrick Lynch, Preston David Seaver, Austin Carter Ablia, Emma Sophia Guerrero Moran, Mary Gail Rux Gray, Rebecca Ann Rux Belmont, Thomas Alvin Rux, Zane David Galbraith, Sophie Lee Doubt, Caleb Andrew Jorgensen, Joshua Robert Jorgensen, and Victoria Jorgensen, Nathan Wyatt Stewart, Colton James Coyle, Chloe Estelle Frazier, Nicole Michelle Stewart Graham, Matthew Glenn Hathaway, Joshua Tyler Hathaway.
Thank you. Do you notice people are naming their kids with 4 names? That seems to be a common growing thing. It's probably American. Oh, well, it may not be. Number 7.
Anna has 4 names.
It's just, they like 4 names, I don't know. Yeah, but it sure is hard to sign your name when you have other names.
Okay, we have an amendment to amend Title 27 of the Insurance Company Act.
I'll talk about it a little bit under discussion, but I make a motion to approve Resolution 2013-56, the Insurance Code Amendment.
I'll second.
Discussion?
This is to help ensure continuity and stability in the domicile, that we recognize from time to time the codes may change as the domicile needs change, but companies that have formed under codes, we felt like it was necessary to put a grandfather clause in that allowed them to maintain the old, it's called a regulatory acquired right, to allow them to continue to operate under the prior regulation, or give them the choice. They would have the choice to continue with the regulation that they signed up under, or choose to accept the new regulation. This doesn't have to do with pricing. It's simply to do with the law itself.
Call for question?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Because if they're not like their renewal, if we change, we made a decision to increase the price of renewal, they would be affected by that. But if we made a decision that we were no longer going to domicile a certain type of business, it would
Again, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Passed.
I move to approve Resolution 2013-60, a resolution of the Tribal Council of the Delaware Tribe of Indians to submit an amended legal description of Caney, Kansas property with the amended senior trust application to the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Second.
Any discussion on that one? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passed.
Does the council want to pass the resolutions for the Title VI grant rather than doing a poll vote on them later? Because the grant will be due before the next council meeting. And the reason that we didn't have the language for them tonight is because we were going to use the sample language suggested by the Title VI by older Americans.
It's just renewing the program and possibly expanding it.
Are you making that motion that Resolution 58 and 59 will be for that reason?
Yes.
I'll second the motion to approve both resolutions when they're ready. Does everybody understand that this resolution is to be submitted with our application to renew our elder nutrition program? And that's why we're going ahead and approving it tonight, because it's going to be coming due pretty quick.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passed. All in favor?
Already, that she's in there. Oh, they're not in here.
And just for the purpose of the minutes, I wanted to, I guess I said it in the beginning, but I want to say it in this part of the minutes, that Resolution 50, the number 2013-57 wasn't used. It wasn't used.
It was Roy. Okay, resolution 60.
We've already done 60. Yeah, I'll see it
Yeah.
out.
We're at 62, I believe.
Right, that's the proceeds of sale budget.
Just a budget about the money, how where it's going, and what we're going to do.
I'll move to approve Resolution 2013-62, a resolution of the Tribal Council of the Delaware Tribe of Indians to approve a budget to support Kansas expansion activities by the Tribal Council, staff, and contractors.
Can you explain that?
You want to explain where that money came from? Is that what you're thinking?
All right, you're saying proceeds of sale budget, and you're talking, I don't understand what you're exactly talking about. Are we talking dollar amounts?
There's a fund that housing has accrued over the years called the 1937 Act money. And, well, there was money called the 1937 Act money, and as houses have been sold over the years from that fund, built by that fund, or acquired by that fund, that money goes into a fund called proceeds of sale. And that, in the late 90s, HUD revamped their HOSDA, which is what we operate under today. There aren't a lot of tribes, I would guess, that have 1937 proceeds of sale money left over, but it's earmarked for economic, community, and housing development for the tribe. And so we opted to utilize a portion of this fund to help the advancing into Kansas. Advancing the Kansas
Is there
expansion.
any of that money going to be earmarked locally?
Mhm.
In fact, there's a line on it that says if there are funds available to another source, they will be used for the benefits.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a line added that if we can find the money in another way, through another area or something, we will use that money and not use any of this money.
For Kansas or for local?
I think so, yeah.
Whatever's on the budget here.
But we don't know what's on the budget.
Oh, yes, we got it now.
The point was is that prior to consultation with the attorneys and the National Indian Housing Council, it wasn't clear that the regulations weren't clear on how the money could be spent or how it could be, what kind of reporting was necessary, what kind of stipulations were on the money. And so accounting wanted us to memorialize that we had studied the law applicable to it. So I didn't necessarily, at this point, there's a budget that's memorialized, but since that budget had been produced 2 months ago, it's already changed. So
So on the use of this money, are you getting input from just the run-of-the-mill tribal member? Or are you only taking advice from the attorneys? Just the general populace of the Delaware tribe?
right, the use of the money is the needs of the tribe, but the point is using the money is the point of the resolution, not.
Jennifer, are you saying that the accounting department wants some authority?
Right.
Yeah, the accounting department doesn't just go spend money without some kind of authority to spend the money.
But the wording in the resolution specifies Kansas. When you read it.
Yes, it does.
Right, because Curtis and I both tried to write resolutions this afternoon, and Curtis's was a little more specific than I wanted it to be. The point was is that the 1937 Act proceeds of sale money could be used for housing, community, and economic development.
But that's not what the resolution that you're voting on says. It says on Kansas.
Did make reference to, I did make reference to economic, housing,
Right.
community development.
Institutional infrastructure development, legal, political, it's broad. The title says Kansas, to support Kansas expansion, but it doesn't say to exclusively support Kansas expansion.
There's your remark.
But it's not even a fifth of the money that is in that fund. So if you have community, housing, or economic development projects, please submit your ideas to the tribal council because there's plenty of money
I just know you
available.
need more than housing here. Maryland, she needs to be down in a similar housing, but not checklist.
She was at
They're,
one time.
she's going to have to move over to the lodges, from what I
Right, she
understand.
moved out of the elder, she had elder housing.
But her daughter was living with her, so she moved out. And now her daughter's moved away, so from what I
difficult to listen during the chief's presentation on Saturday, but she did emphasize that our Indian housing plan and all of our housing strategic planning is based on the waiting list or from what we hear from you. So if we don't know, or you're not applying, then we don't set aside money to do that, because if there's no need, we can't justify doing it.
How many people do we have on that waiting list? Curtis,
We have a waiting list.
do we have,
It's probably in the housing packet, or housing report, huh?
I would love to be on it, but I have to sell my house and go 2 years first, from what I understand.
well, maybe it's time to put it on anyway. You have to be the age.
I am the age and my income fits, but I own my house, and I'm not selling until March, and then I was told it'll be 2 years before I can apply for housing after I sell my house.
Lucky girl. Is that a rule, Curtis?
I'm not sure what she was told, and I will certainly follow up with the staff on that.
And maybe while we have Sonia in giving us some consultation, that's something I've been asking for a couple of years, is an informal waiting list. I understand that HUD has their requirements and what they have to do, but could we have a process that wasn't 7 pages long to allow people like Bonnie Jo to say, hey, I want to be here in 2 years. Make place for me. An informal process.
Where it could be on the waiting list, but I know.
But I can't reserve a house for
No,
you.
I know that, but I meant, but if I know the interest is there.
For the purpose of planning.
Not because one will come open and you're going to hold it for 2 years, absolutely not.
But having your name on the waiting list will show the need is there.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you can get on the waiting list.
So do I do that through CC or through you, since it'll be an informal list?
Well, no matter whose office it is, you'll fill out a housing application, and we will have you on a list of people who apply for tribal housing.
I mean, because I don't want to move.
Right. Well, but, of course, your resolution at the moment is having to do with Kansas with regards to what needs are here in Oklahoma. We have housing. We have 16 units vacant right now that are available to move in for people that need housing. So, and we've got places ready for we all want to have these for our convenience, but right now, we're work with.
Okay.
In the future, we can.
Resolution 2013-62, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passed.
Oh, yes. I motion that we accept Resolution 2013-63 that moves our supervision to Miami, Oklahoma, and out of the Muskogee. Okay. You don't know what
That means that right now, for the area office that we deal with, when we deal with the Bureau, is the Muskogee area office. We are moving, since with our expansion into Kansas, we are petitioning to move our needs will go and we'll work with the Miami office and not Muskogee, which will be beneficial to our tribe. We're moving out of the area that the Cherokee Nation is in.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Passed, all in favor?
have you recognized real briefly.
I knew you were.
This is God.
I didn't hear you.
Yesterday, we had our elders meeting, and it came up about the veterans' pictures on the walls. And we know that some of them were taken down, I believe, when this construction was going on. And we're asking to have those put back up, and that any new pictures that come in, the War Mothers can't afford to build more frames. So between them and the elders, it was discussed that the pictures that we have over here in this closet be put back on the wall, and that any new pictures, hopefully between the two organizations, we can come up with a hinged frame so that all new pictures would be on this hinged frame. But for right now, they had just asked Mary and I to bring it to the council about getting the existing pictures rehung.
I was kind of in charge of that. I talked with the War Mothers, and like I said, they didn't want the responsibility of it. And I have asked around anybody that would listen, what can we do? And I've had two suggestions that I think are very good. As far as I know, we're hunting a person that can do lumber, whatever it takes to mill the wood. But we wanted to move, I'm not sure who told me that.
It was Paula?
Right, there was a gentleman came in here and was showing us some plaques, and so I showed him, and he thought he could do that, but I don't know. He hasn't gotten back to me.
You don't know his name or anything?
Yeah, his name was Charlie McDonald.
So we might need to get it.
All right, then possibly, you don't have a contact.
I think I have his card.
Okay, if I could get that from you,
Take that over.
I could get a quote from him, and then,
Oh, okay, that sounds good.
and then I can see how many pictures we have
Okay.
and everything. I don't mind doing that, but I'll see you. Will you be here tomorrow, Paula? Okay, and I'll see you and get that contact information.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yes, but I like that book I read though, but I'm not sure I'm ready to do that yet.
Okay, well, as long as we have room to hang what we've got there,
Yeah.
plus
Some more.
any additional, I mean, because we have some that aren't up there,
Yes,
period.
I know that.
So
Who has those?
the ones that got taken down from what I was told yesterday are
They're
in
in
this
that-
closet.
they're in that
Other ones that aren't
I
framed.
know where those are.
I know that we had.
Who knows where they are?
I mean, I know they're in that closet.
Okay.
The new ones that we don't
No,
know. I don't, no, I have.
I don't either. Susan Cade said that she had put up everything she was given, but I know Mary Waters' dad's picture disappeared.
And I would also like to get
I had one.
possibly the pictures that we have cleaned up, because some of them are pretty rough. looking.
Right.
But we can work on
So
that.
I think between the elders and the War Mothers, we can tackle that.
Veterans maybe, I don't know.
The veterans, maybe all three groups can kind of work on that together.
That sounds good.
But I just wanted to make sure it's okay that we put more stuff on the walls.
I don't think we object at all.
You said you need
Paint job first.
Oh, yeah, we do need to paint behind those
Okay.
and this one.
Have you researched those hinged, those hinged things that we...
No, we just had this meeting yesterday, and so that was the first it was brought up. But from what Jan says, and I had mentioned this yesterday, that a third row could be added. And Jan said that that hadn't been talked about prior, so that can hold a lot more pictures.
Joe, you might write an article for the January newspaper, for the January DIN, and ask people to submit. Let them know this is a good time to submit
Okay.
pictures.
When will that be due?
December 15th.
December 15th.
December, okay. I can do that. All right.
Also, I, at one time, got an okay to put them down the halls outside. If we ever do fill this room up, we do have part of the building that we can expand a little.
Right, but I think right now we're all right with her. I think that we'll cross that bridge then. I don't want to ask for too much right now. As long as I can get y'all go along with what we've got, I'll take it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie, for stepping up and doing it.
Well,
Yes, Curtis.
I need to be recognized to understand what's just been approved, because
Under normal operations, just tell us you want this done. I get DFMS, we get it done. What we would need is someone to say, yes, you can use this wall, this wall, this wall. Once we get that done. But if the Elders Committee, veterans, if they're going to work together, hire their own contractor and do their own thing, that is outside the direction I've been given by this tribe, which is we give our business to DFMS to do the work and they take care and get it done. So I just want to get clear that we're going to allow that approach to getting it done, and then if we're going to do that, then now's the time to take advantage of, if we're going to pull all of these down, these walls desperately
That wall over
need to
there
be- they're a
definitely needs
mess.
painted.
All of these walls are a mess. So if we get clear where they're going to go, and then if someone else is going to contract the work and do the work, that's fine. I just need direction from the tribe.
I don't think she was trying to do that. She's just trying to get it done and volunteer.
And I guess I wasn't aware that DFMS could possibly make the
I don't know
frames.
that they can,
Well,
but I don't think we've talked to them
If they don't do
either.
it, the typical thing is they sub it out.
Yeah.
But then they'll bill us more if they sub it out than if we go direct, right?
That's right.
Well, but we have to pay them.
That's just the nature of the beast.
But they take the liability on.
Okay. So who do I need to talk to? Curtis, just you?
Well, as tribal operations manager, you tell me what you want done and develop the scope of work. You tell me where you want everything placed around here. We'll write up the scope of work, we'll turn it over to DFMS, they'll get it done, and then all of the appropriate charges after the Veterans Committee, Elders Committee talks about it, the costs for doing the work would be shared according to the formula.
And I think that would be all right, Mary, wouldn't it? Right, but they don't have the money, so I'm just thinking maybe between
The War Mothers turned that over to the tribe, to the dining room. I'm sorry, but they did tell me that.
And I knew Barbara said yesterday they didn't. I don't know.
We just need direction, that's all.
Bonnie, is it my understanding that you're going to talk to the Veterans Committee and the Elders Committee and come up with a plan?
Right.
Okay.
And I will get Curtis to get me a quote or something, and then I can talk to the entities and see where we can come up with the money, whether it's War Mothers or...
Well, I mean, the War Mothers can always have a say in it too.
Right.
But I didn't, they weren't able to help financially. And I don't want them to
So
have
as long as we get a quote, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to do any... They turn it over to the tribe.
Kind of the tribe, it wasn't really to me.
But we won't do anything till we find out the cost.
Yes, that's good.
Charles.
If you want me to,
Right.
you can make those frames like we got here for the cost of what the material is.
You can, Charles?
And then we can have the gig to paint the walls and hang them.
Right, but we shouldn't have to pay for painting the walls, just to hang them. Okay. All right. I will talk among the elders and the War Mothers and the veterans, and we'll come up with what maybe Charles needs to build a room.
Why did they do that, Charles?
Wow. So this is getting better all the time. Thank you, Shivani.
Thank you.
And thank you, Charles. We'll have to talk to
Make
you.
up your minds, when you want it done, and I'll make it happen.
Okay, group.
Move we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Meeting adjourned. 6:56.